Well, good morning, our beloveds. It is a sunny day here in Philadelphia. For those who get the joke, kudos to you. And for those who don't, get a life. We're being silly, of course. It is a TV or media analogy. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and our another has begun the next phase of her life, which is beginning in or from a place of sheer tranquility. When you heal those parts within you that have vibrated out of fear, for so long it almost feels boring. What used to make you feel energized was really just a response to an uncomfortable vibration. And when that underlying vibration is gone, there's nothing agitating you into something different. So what do you do with that? What do you do with the lack of response? You will question, well, the stillness of the lake, is it because I am bored? Or is it because I must change to a different body of water where there still are ripples? What do you do when you find stillness, utter and sheer stillness within your body, within your soul, within your experience? Now, it doesn't mean everywhere, just within a singular expression. And when that expression has changed, it all feels differently and you see clearly, but you have to figure out what this really means. So a different example that gets to a similar point or objective is when your eyesight has been poor for so many years and you get accustomed to seeing or experiencing a fuzzy world around you. And when you get glasses for the first time and see with crystal clarity in a number of years, you look around you and you're almost ashamed to say that you didn't notice how fuzzy the world looked until you have been offered a counterpoint of what it looks like when you have roughly 20/20 vision. It matters more than you realize how you perceive the world, whether you look at it through lazy eyes, meaning that you don't see the defined outline of certain aspects of your world, and instead you adjust or accommodate with your own behavior. For example, if you were to drive, you would maybe memorize the streets instead of actually reading the street signs. You would use a navigation system to help you get from point A to point B because you could no longer read the actual street signs. And you know what we're talking about. It's not that it's good or bad, it's just different. And when you perceive the world through a vibration that is no longer based on insecurities or fear or lack of love or abandonment or whatever it is, a negative, fearful vibration, when that underlying vibration dissipates, you now get to just experience your surroundings without that filter, without that overlay. And now what? What would happen if everything on Mother Earth ceased vibrating? It is the vibration to a certain extent that offers life. It is stillness that is usually identified with death because that's where activity ceases. But how do you respond when life feels calm and safe and boring? What inspires you then? If you're not running from a bear, or running towards a safe space, or gathering nuts and berries for the winter because you're worried you will starve? How does it feel when you have enough abundance that you don't worry about next week or next year? When you know you have enough sufficiency to support yourself or to survive, and you get to choose what you get to choose. What do you choose? And why? So our another is now exploring who she wants to be and who we want her to be. And it is becoming very apparent to her that even though she seeks bliss and ease and some quiet and some peace, our vibration for her is distress and agony, because it irritates her. It motivates her. It inspires her to be an agent of change. Now, what do we speak of? When our another sees injustice, it inspires her to take action. She has done this much of her life, inspired by a defense mechanism for the lesser than. When she has seen a younger version of herself, a child of sorts, being marginalized by a bully, by a grown man, she stood up and found a voice within herself while she shook and queried the other person, "Who do you think you are?" She knows what it feels like to feel unsafe in her body as a child. And she doesn't want others to feel this fear. So she stands up. Now, does it happen a lot? No. It has to be a particular vibration in a particular setting or circumstance where she protects the younger version of her in the form of another human being. Because again, as you remember, you are all one indeed. And during these times, while our another had envisioned working with spiritual or partially enlightened beings, well, the universe has a different approach to her applying her skills. One would think, well, she's a medium, she's an intuitive, she's a mystic, she's a shaman in training, right? We're going to have her work with that community. But no, the vibration just doesn't align as a whole, because her fire and her gusto does not align with many people, because many desire to sing Kumbaya while they pretend to be done with their own development. It is not easy to grow. It is not easy to challenge yourself, to heal those inner wounds. It is easier to put Band-Aids on and to pretend. And her desire is only to work with those who really desire to change. So she is now standing up for the marginalized and finding her voice in her legal background by advocating for those who have no voice. And the fact is, it doesn't even matter how good or bad she is at this point, because she is the only voice speaking up. And she will improve, and she will learn, And she will heal those parts of her that believe that she's not good enough or competent enough to make a difference, to speak up on behalf of others who have been marginalized. And she will change the world. Maybe not like you expect, and maybe not like she even expects. But it is not about the outer expression, but the inner vibration. And you all also need an irritant of sorts to force you to get up every day. So when those say that capitalism is the right way and that governmental handouts make you lazy and ineffective, there is an element of truth there. Because if you don't need to get up, many of you won't. Because it is easier to die of boredom than to live by the sword. So now, what does this mean going forward for you and for humanity? Where does your desire to still yourself help humanity to vibrate at a higher vibration? It means that you must find your center point. If you are an artist, be an artist. If you are a cook or a chef, be a cook or chef. If you are a gardener, be a gardener. But if you are a warrior, be a warrior. This time was made for you. If you recall the words of Sophie Charles from many years ago, 3 years ago, to be exact, when she channeled to our another, she asked, what are you willing to stand up for? What are you willing to die for? Now, many have asked and answered this question, asked it of themselves and answered it through their actual sacrifice into the great chasm of the unknown. But more importantly, what have you asked? Have you asked, how can I be an agent of change? Have you asked, what did I come here for? Have you asked, what is my purpose? Have you asked? Because it can't be answered unless the query is asked. Our another asked, why am I here? What is my life's purpose? And you all are seeing it play out before your very eyes. And it need not make sense, because life doesn't make sense. It is irrational, it is illogical, it is impractical, it is irreverent at times, it is insolent at times, it is pouty at times. It is not perfect. When you look at water, which begins its life in a cycle at the top of a mountain and works its way down a river, a stream, an arroyo, and moves its way down to the big source of water, which are your big bodies of water, and then gets evaporated and goes back into that cycle. When you look at the life of that particular source, it will come down in a frozen form, and it will sit and wait for the weather to warm, for the vibration to shift from that of a frozen state to a liquid state. And then it will travel down through those waterways to its ultimate goal or destination. And when you look at its travels, what would you experience? What would you see? Its greatest life force within its energetic imprint is created through those challenging curves and twists and bumps and blips. It is not an easy path to get to your destination. And then there are periods where there is rest, where there is stillness, where you simply flow down the river of life. But it's not always that way. And you all are trying to create an unnatural experience when it is the fullness of the experience that matters. It is your recharging and your energizing that is created in the most turbulent times, when you are oxygenated, when you are imprinted with the most vital life essence that is needed in order to keep your ticker alive, to keep your battery charged, to keep your life essence above the flat line. Where do you fit in? Find that before you expire, and you will have challenged yourself in so many ways during this lifetime by simply inquiring, why did I come this time? Please show me so I can see whether or not I wish to embark on that crazy journey of surrendering into the mystery of the unknown and becoming my most truest essence without any boundaries, without any protective mechanisms, without any padding, without any safety. What does it look like when I am pushed off of a perfectly good cliff, learning and leaning into what most surely come, which is death when I hit the bottom, but maybe not. Maybe the hand of God will save me before I splat, because there is an unseen energy out there that protects us and guides us into where we are ultimately meant to go. You all are birds of flight and you don't even see it. And you need to be pushed out of that comfortable nest that you have been in for too long in order to expand your wings and to fly. Now, there most assuredly will be some of you who perish, but you will perish anyway, as that is an assured and guaranteed exit strategy from this lifetime. But what it is to live before you die versus just existing until you die, well, now, our beloveds, that is where the sweet spot, the vortex, the life's purpose can be found. Finding yourself means you will be agitated and irritated and initiated into something bigger, because what if you too are a warrior for something that matters to you and only to you? Find that before you expire, and you will initiate and irritate yourself into the next incarnation in a way that you cannot even imagine, because your souls leapfrog from one experience to another, growing and expanding and learning before you expire into the great unknown of whatever is, and I shall no longer worry about the afterlife, because the afterlife will take care of itself. It's the current life that I wish to explore more, and it can only be explored with servitude to your life's purpose, excitement and wonder on what it is that you can create, and sheer and utter unexplained bliss by the mere and sheer fact that you are finally wandering on the path to your own life's journey and its destiny, and not its fated end. It is there. It is there. And when you finally take the left path instead of the right path that you have been taught to take, it will change your perspective on everything. Leave the safety and the security and lean into the mystery of the unknown. And so it is. Namaste.